Well, join me, Marcus, on another walk, and today I'm back in windy Porthcawl, South Wales. Well, hello again. I'm actually sheltered at the moment in the rocks, just in front of the Seabank Hotel there. It's pretty windy this morning. Another named storm has blown through, Storm Eowyn, which actually missed us. It's gone further north, hitting Northern Ireland, Scotland, but it's still pretty windy. But the sun is trying to come out. Anyway, in today's walk, I'm walking from Porthcawl town centre along the South Wales coast up to Sker Point, and I'm actually walking to the wreck of the Samtampa. If you didn't know, the SS Samtampa was a 7,000-ton ship which ran aground in a fierce storm back on the 23rd of April 1947. The 39 crew of the ship were lost, as well as the 8 volunteer lifeboat crew from Mumbles. If you want to find out more about the disaster, I've already made a video about the subject, and I'll link that below, and it should be coming up at the end. So today's walk, I'm walking the coastal path to the site of a memorial plaque, and this was placed where they found the upturned lifeboat from Mumbles. Also, when the tide's out, you can walk to the edge of the rocks in Sker and see the engine, which still remains. It's only visible at low tide. Unfortunately, today the tide's coming in. By the time I get there, it'll be underwater. But what I'll do, I'll link all the coordinates below, and I'll show you the photograph I took earlier. The walk itself is relatively easy. It's about 2.5 miles each way, 5 miles, 8 kilometers return. It's flat for most of the way. It's along the Wales coastal path. The only issue, when you get to Sker Point itself, it's quite rocky, and if you want to walk to see the remains of the engine at low tides, the rocks there are quite jagged, so be careful. As I mentioned earlier, you only can see the remains at a low tide, and the lower the better, so check the tide times. And I would head up there about an hour before low tide. Anyway, I'm starting here today at the shelter in front of the Seabank Hotel, and I think it's time to get started. Let's go. So there's the shelter. Let's get started. Oh, it's pretty fresh. I don't know how bumpy the camera work's going to be, because it is really windy. It's got cold as well. But at least it's dry. Well, I've stopped for a break in the shelter at the end of the prom, just before we head up to the common. It is really windy. And we're just catching the edge of the storm as well. Oh. Anyway, you can either stick to the coastal path by the roads, or you can head across the common itself towards Rest Bay. And I think because it's so windy out there, I can't really talk to you on the walk. I'll see you when I get to Rest Bay. Let's go. It's actually a bit more sheltered by the roads than walking along the common itself. Now here's a question for some locals. Who remembers the old Coast Guard station? They used to be on the rocks at the edge of the common, overlooking the sea. Hopefully I will have a chance to do a few more walks in 2025 compared to last year. So if you've got any suggestions of where to walk, let me know. Comment below. So we're now heading over the hill and down towards Rest Bay. As usual, a link to the map will be in the description below, but you don't really need it because you're going along the coastal path. The only important part is when we get to Sker Point, you'll need the coordinates for the plaque, and it's actually marked on Google Maps itself at the moment, so if you look on there you should be able to find it. So I'm now at Rest Bay, sheltering. The walk takes us along the coastal path, past the Royal Porthcawl Golf Club, past the old rest home, which are now luxury apartments. And just before Christmas, the apartment at the back, the roof blew off. Is it just me? I know we get a lot of storms along this coastline this time of year, but they seem to be stronger. I don't know, every other weekend there seems to be a damaging storm. Like I said, we're lucky this one skirted us, went north. Anyway, as you can see, the tide's coming in, so let's get a move on. It's windy. It's quite hazy today, but Rest Bay, this area, we're looking out across Swansea Bay towards Mumbles and the Gower. So there's the Royal Porthcawl Golf Club, and behind it the apartments, and that's where the roof blew off just before Christmas. The sea looks pretty rough at Sker Point. It's a bit far away from the camera at the moment. And this area is known locally as Pink Bay. Because if you look at the rocks, many of them have got a pink colouring to them. There are some brave golfers trying to play a round of golf. So there's Sker House. It's been renovated. And I think in the last couple of years, they've actually rebuilt the collapsed wing. By the way, I hope you can hear me, because the wind's really strong, as you can see. I hope it's not too muffled or blown out. So you walk along the boardwalk, then the boardwalk runs out, you walk along the wall next to Sker House, and you keep walking until this wall on my right suddenly turns right, and there's a coastal path sign there. Like I said at the start, the coordinates for the plaque are in the description below, and also they're marked on Google Maps. But to give you a rough idea where they are, when you get to this point, turn to face the sea with the corner of the wall behind you, then turn roughly 45 degrees and walk out from there. And in about 100 yards, you should find the plaque, or in that area. If you look at the rocks, they're all quite low and look the same, so it's quite hard to find. So that was my walk from Porthcawl town centre along the Wales coastal path to Sker Point and to the sad memorial of the Samtampa disaster. 39 crew of the ship and 8 of the lifeboat were lost that night in April 1947. Just imagine, like I mentioned, walking across Pink Bay. It's not even that windy now, but look at the sea. It was a much stronger storm. In the dark, they weren't local to the area either. If you wanted to find the remains of the engine, it's another 100-150 yards across the rocks behind me, over there. Again, I'll mark the coordinates of that on the map, and when you go over there, if you just look in the rocks, you can see bits of metal left over from the wreck. Anyway, I know it's a sad memorial here, but the walk itself, it's really nice in the summer along the beach, and once you get to Sker Point and walk this way, it's usually really quiet. Hopefully I'll get to do some more walks over the next year, and remember, keep walking. Bye.